Here we are, live and in the virtual space.
Right. So I know why I picked a virtual background today. Why did you do yours?
Oh, well, look at my background. I mean, I feel like I've been missing this so much. So I wanted to come to you live from the air today. So ANA Mileage Club, you may have received an email from them this week that indicated that they had free Zoom backgrounds for your video conferences. And if you're a member of ANA Mileage Club, they have extra special ones you can download. So I was like, oh my
Oh,
goodness, I got to check out what this is. And so here I
so
am.
are there any first class, their new suites kind of thing to make it look like you're sitting in there doing?
You're going to have to log in and find out. But no, if there was, that would have been my background.
Right, right. So yeah, there you go.
Clearly not. Clearly not. What about you? What's your excuse? How come you have my picture of the Conrad Bora Bora in your background?
Yeah. Well, first, I'm not really sure. I had apparently loaded this up to my Zoom a while ago, and I don't remember doing that, but I had to quickly find a background because I'm set up in my living room where people are going to be randomly wandering through now and then. And
I see.
so rather than distract everybody with random wanderings, I figured why not put a beautiful picture up?
Well, how nice of you. How nice. Well, so I'm probably distracting people at least somewhat with my moving background, but then I also could make it more static, and I will probably do that in a second if I find that.
You know what? It's pretty subtle. I kind of like that. Even though it's moving, it's only on like a third of your screen.
Only on a third. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So
I was looking for oh, there we go. So instead though, I could be in the lounge. How's that?
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Fun times. All right. So I guess we got questions to answer this week. I can pretend to be in the lounge or pretend to be back in the plane. I'll go back to the plane. So Grant asks us a question here. Grant jumps in with question number 1, since we're live and answering questions, Greg. That's what we're doing. Question number 1 is, hi, Greg and Nick. For your cell phone bills, do you use a credit card that offers the best cell phone protection or that offers the highest rewards? What do you do, Greg?
Yeah. Historically, I've been using the one with the highest rewards. So I had been using the Ink Plus or Ink Cash to get 5x rewards. Neither one, I think, offers any cell phone protection. So just sort of been self-insuring, I guess you could say, that I figure those rewards will more than pay back any cost to repair a phone if I need to do that. With the latest stuff, though, now that Amex is out with cell phone protection for a bunch of premium cards, at least for this year, my best bet is to pay my cell phone bill with my, I think my Delta Reserve card, which has like a $20 monthly wireless rebate. So I get both the very good cell phone protection and $20 back. And if I didn't have any of those Delta cards that have the wireless, then I would consider instead the Business Platinum, which has 5x rewards through June for wireless. So that would be a good one. So with Amex, at least temporarily, we can sort of have the cake and eat it too, and get the best rewards and good coverage. But long term, I mean, I don't know. I'll probably go back to the Ink Plus approach, but we'll see. There's something nice, I think, about the peace of mind. If we find out that Amex's protection is as sort of like good and easy to use as you found their purchase protection to be, then I might be like, well, that's worth it. I'll go to that. What
Yeah.
about you?
Well, so definitely now for the rest, through June, I'll be using the Business Platinum because I don't have a Delta card, but I'll take their protection that comes with just a $50 deductible and up to $800 per claim. I mean, that's pretty solid in the world of cell phone insurance. That's great. I mean, most of the ones that have really high coverage amounts per claim also have higher deductibles. So $50 deductible is very reasonable. So I like that, and the ability to earn 5x on the Business Platinum. Now, what do I actually do and what should I do are two sort of separate things, or at least they have been until recently. So I wrote last year about how I had been using the Ink Business Preferred for 3x and cell phone protection, but that I found it really didn't work out to be worthwhile for me the time that I actually broke a phone and needed it. It didn't seem to be a worthwhile coverage. I realized, I did the math and realized I would have been better off just earning 5x using my old Ink Plus or the Ink Cash now all that time, and then just buying the phone or paying to fix it because it was relatively cheap to fix a broken screen. And a lot of phones are, not necessarily iPhones, but a lot of Android phones are pretty cheap to fix. So I had kind of been on that sort of wavelength. However, in the time since I kind of wrote that post, T-Mobile has continued to add more and more free lines. And so I've picked up over the last several months now, well, between last year and now, 3 free lines. And so now I have 3 other family members on my plan, plus my wife and I, plus we have an extra phone between us that we use for business purposes, I guess. So that's 6 phones now on my plan. Now we're getting to a point where the math says, one of those is going to break at some point, and having coverage might be worthwhile, especially if the Amex protection, like you said, turns out to be easy and just a $50 deductible versus the $100 deductible that Chase has. Then I'll probably switch over to an Amex card and say, you know what, I'll give up a little bit on the rewards and take the good phone coverage. I'm super happy now with T-Mobile. They just came out with a new Magenta Max plan that's totally unlimited, no throttling, 40 gigabytes of hotspot per line. So that's a pretty good deal for me because we use a lot of data every month. So knowing that we won't get throttled even when we use 60 or 80 or 100 gigabytes of data is super nice. So very, very happy with that new change from them. So I plan to stick with them for a while. And the best deal, I think, is going to be using an Amex. So that's going to be my plan, I think, even when it's not particularly good rewards.
Right. I'll take it. So do you think it's likely that they will administer it themselves the way they did with the purchase protection?
I think so. I imagine so. I mean, if not, then that obviously would change things. And then I would probably consider something else altogether, because I don't know that self-insuring is going to be the right answer anymore with more phones on my plan. But yeah, I think Amex will do it themselves. I mean, they already handle their own purchase protection. I think they handle their own travel protections through Amex, so the Amex Assurance Company. So I assume this is going to be the same.
All right. Maybe
we'll see.
I think I've got an older iPhone that has a cracked screen. Maybe I'll pay
Toss
for
it on the plan and
put it on the plan for a month and then try out the Amex protection, see what happens.
There you go. Then you'll have a good post for us. Is Nick flying backwards? Somebody asked me. I don't know what the pilot's doing, to tell you the truth. I had no idea what this guy is doing.
The clouds do appear to be going forward. So that's either you're flying backwards or the clouds are going faster than you.
I think that ANA said when you did do the downloads for this that it would look backwards on my side but look correct on the other person's side, but apparently they lied to me.
Interesting.
Because I see that too. It definitely looks like we're flying backwards, or maybe just the clouds are moving that fast in the opposite direction.
Yeah. Random question about the T-Mobile stuff. You talked about how you had like all these free extra lines because all those different promotions they had. And if I remember right, the promotions were generally like free to add a line. So like if you don't already have service, you still had to pay for the first one. Is it worth it for somebody to like get T-Mobile service just in the hopes that like these promos will keep appearing?
I would have not thought that, except when I started reading the Slick Deals threads about these free line promos, I realized that there are a lot of people that have a lot of free lines. That T-Mobile has done this a number of times before. So they did it 4 times last year, and I missed it one of the times. So I only added 3 free lines last year. But I came across people on Slick Deals that had 6, 8, 9 free lines. And the thing is, each line gets the same plan that your paid lines get. So I just switched my plan to this new Magenta Max plan, which is normally, I don't know, $57-ish a line. It depends on how many lines you have, but like $57-ish a line. And all of the 3 free lines that don't cost me anything per month get that completely unlimited data and 40 gigs of hotspot on each line. So, and in 4K streaming, full 4K streaming on video. So that's pretty amazing to me. So I'm hoping part of the reason that I did this switch, actually, my old plan had 50 gigabytes of data before it got throttled, and I switched to this one that only has 40 gigabytes of hotspot, but unlimited everything else. And my thought process was actually this was going to be a little cheaper. I actually saved a little money changing, so I could add another line and have another 40 gigs of data and still be paying less than I was before. But I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe they'll offer another free line and I can add another free line at some point. Just keep doing this and adding more family members or extra lines that I don't need. So I don't know. Is it worth creating a T-Mobile account and paying the monthly bill, hoping they come out with that again? I don't know. But with the merger with Sprint, I think the popular opinion has been that they've just been looking to up subscriber numbers in order to look good for their shareholders. So maybe they'll do it again. I don't know.
So it's something to think about. I guess maybe if they do a really good promo for new subscribers, that might be a good time for me to jump on to give it a try. And then hopefully there'll be these kind of promos. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, the current promo now, this new Magenta Max, if you jump on Magenta or Magenta Max, I think they'll pay up to $650 to pay off your equipment if you've got an equipment installment plan with AT&T. So might be a good time to think about it. But anyway, I sound like a T-Mobile commercial now. So I don't want to sound like a T-Mobile commercial. I like it, but I'm not that enthusiastic. Let's move forward. Dr. Nicholas asks us, says you guys rock and have been a lifesaver during COVID. Curious if you have warmed up the giant crystal ball for predictions about airline elite status extensions for this next year, specifically American Airlines. What do you think, Greg? What are your predictions regarding elite status? Are they going to extend it again?
It's kind of funny. Like, yeah, we rock. That's nice. Thank you. But our history of predictions is dicey at best.
I mean, Greg was hot for a few years. Yeah, he had quite a few good predictions. Then I came along and I think I ruined his crystal ball.
It's your fault. Okay, got it. Okay, so I don't know. Specifically AA, what will they do? Lead status extensions. I don't know. I think it's gonna. I think it's still too early in this year to know how airlines are going to have to adapt to next year, and that's really what this is about. Whether they are going to need to do more than they've already done to keep their elites happy going into the next year, and I would guess they'd have to do something. But the extent of what that something is going to vary greatly depending on whether travel is it seems unlikely that it'll be anywhere close to normal by summer. But if in the off chance it was, then, they're going to do a lot less is my guess than if travel's essentially stalled for the rest of the year.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Super hard to predict. Yeah. It's funny because my opinion is the same as yours, that it's way too early to predict because, month to month, it's really hard to know what's going to happen. But I think that's the same thing I said last year. And then 10 minutes later, everybody extended elite status. So I take my opinion with a grain of salt, but I feel like if I ran the airline, I'd be like, you know what? I don't know. We might have a lot of people vaccinated by summer. And as people get vaccinated, they might be, really excited to get out there and start traveling around a little bit. Maybe we don't need to incentivize very much. And on the flip side, I don't know. I mean, I read about that variant today that is reinfecting people even after they've been infected once and may be more resistant to vaccine. Who knows? I mean, predicting right now what it's going to be like 3 or 4 or 5 months from now is so hard. So I feel like they're going to have to see where people are at, come May or June.
I certainly wouldn't do any mileage running this year for elite status, period.
Right.
Because even if they don't do anything, for all members to retain elite status, I'm betting that things like challenges to retain status, things like that, will be easier to come by if you need them at the end of this year.
I agree.
And probably you won't need it. So, yeah,
I agree. So hang on, wait for it.
Right.
And we'll see. All right. Yolanda asks, I'm a globalist and I need 2 rooms. Is it better to book both under my name or do one as a guest of honor booking in my husband's name?
That's a great great question. It does seem like correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you book multiple rooms, you're only guaranteed, for example, breakfast or lounge access for your room.
Mm-hmm.
So doing the second one as a guest of honor, I think would guarantee that. Whereas, most hotels would give it to you anyway if you have two rooms. But I like that way of thinking. I think that makes a lot of sense. Any reason
Yeah.
not to do it that way?
Not that I can think of. No, in my limited experience as a globalist, traveling with multiple rooms, because I have been in that situation before. That's what I did. I did the guest of honor stay because I had the same thought that, like Greg said, they'll probably extend the benefits to the other room, but they certainly don't have to. Whereas if you do the guest of honor stay, then they're going to. So
Right. And then if you charge anything to your room, just charge it to the main room that your account is on. That way, any points will accrue to your account, and you'll get your bonus, I guess. And also it's just easier than having to transfer over from your husband's account.
Good point. I always tell everyone, if we're traveling with multiple people, multiple rooms, I always tell everyone to charge everything to my room so that it all goes to one pile of points. I did actually once.
That's good. I'm going to travel when I travel with you. I know what to do.
Don't get out of line with me, Greg. I'm going to submit that expense report. So I did once travel with two rooms that were cash and points, and those you can't book as a guest of honor. And both rooms did get globalist benefits. They gave me the benefits on both. But so, it may, like Greg said, it may happen, but
right. And that's even happened to me with Marriott. So, where they've extended the benefits to all the rooms. So
right. So Steven said the only reason not to do the guest of honor is because the player one wouldn't get any elite night credits if you did that, except if you're doing two rooms, Steven, I think like you're only going to get elite credit for one room anyway.
Right.
So, and Yolanda's going to be there. So I presumably with the two rooms that you said you needed. So I think you're getting the elite night credit anyway. So
it's oops.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so. All right. So we're good there. So Yolanda, do it as a guest of honor. There's no reason not to. And lots of reasons that it probably is a better idea. Let's see. Next question up comes in from, is it Skylar? It says, player 2 got an AMEX Gold or Platinum. I'm not sure, Gold Platinum in mid-late December. So both got an AMEX Gold and an AMEX Platinum in mid to late December. First two AMEX cards currently at 524. Is it too soon to get an AMEX Green, tempted by a 45K sign-up bonus and the new player 1 30K referral? Because if player 1 refers player 2, they'll pick up a 30K referral, plus the 45,000 point offer is very good on the Green. It's not quite the best we've ever seen, I don't think. I think we saw a 50K offer, if I remember correctly, but 45K is barely as good. So I don't know. What do you think, Greg? Is it too soon?
So it's been about 3 months now, a little over. I don't think it's too soon. I mean,
2.5, right? December, January.
But I think if Amex thought it was too soon, it would do a pop-up saying you might not get this bonus, right?
Yeah, I thought it was 2 accounts in 90 days with Amex, wasn't it? Although I could be wrong about that. I'd always have to check.
I think you are right about that, although that might be credit card accounts.
Credit card accounts, yeah. I know.
I'm not sure. We're going to check our best offers page and see what it says.
That's where we go. We go to the best offers page and we look at the application rules. So if you go to the Amex section on our best offers page, you see the application rules. And so Greg's going to do that. So he can tell us exactly what the deal is. I think you can only get 2 in 90 days. And if you open mid-December, that means January, February, we're just into March. You're only like 2.5 months out. So I'd probably wait a couple of weeks before you go for the Green. That 30K referral probably isn't going to disappear in the next couple of weeks. Don't know for sure, but probably not. And in the Green 45K offer, again, could disappear tomorrow, but it's been around a little bit. I don't necessarily.
So according to Frequent Miler, there's a max of 2 credit card approvals in 90 days, but no known limit for charge cards. So,
which of course now are pay over time cards, not charge cards anymore, right? So I don't know how that's.
But of course, Green Card might be handled like a credit card, but still, this would be the first. Even if it's handled like a credit card, it would be the first credit card within 90 days because the other 2 were charge cards. I mean, pay over time.
Pay over time cards. And are we sure that now that they're called pay over time, they're still handled that way towards the limit?
So the reason I'm calling out Green Card is because it specifically isn't being handled that way with with how many cards you can have, how many credit cards you can have. It's being counted as a credit card. Other cards like Gold and Platinum are not being counted that way, despite the fact that Amex is calling them all not charge cards anymore, even though because of the pay over time feature.
Right. All right. So that clears mud for you. I guess you could go for it again. And if you're not going to get it,
think
they're
it's
going to
likely to
probably give
work,
you
but I don't think there's much harm in waiting till 91 days.
there. Yeah. There you go. Exactly what I think. Totally agreed. Okay. Then next up is Julie. Julie says, for booking an AA partner award from the US to Asia for February of 2022. If I don't know the US origin city, what is the better approach to facilitate award changes once I know my US starting point? Guess at the US origin city and include in the award. Start from the US gateway city, or is adding/changing the origin city the same? My primary concern is losing international business class award availability, since in many cases AA needs to rebuild the entire award and requires another award seat to be available. All right. So Greg's shaking his head like he understood that better than I did as I read it. So go, Greg.
Sorry, I'm reading. There was an addition here.
Julie, okay. So if starting an award in the at the U.S. gateway, I could book a separate positioning flight if I can't add the home airport to a gateway segment to the award, but a positioning flight increases cost and risk. So I think Julie's situation, my best guess here is that Julie's not sure where she's going to be. Maybe she's like moving or might move or something. And so she's not sure where or maybe she's going to be maybe visiting family or whatever the case may be. So she's not sure which airport she's going to start from. So she's thinking, should I just book from like, if I'm going to go to Asia, should I just book something from Seattle and figure, well, I'll figure out how to get to Seattle, or try and guess, am I going to be in New York or Miami, and book the flight from New York to Miami.
Right. So the issue is so American doesn't charge for award changes. So, she could book whatever now and then later change it. But what she's saying is that the problem is if she books now and secures like the international leg that she really wants, let's say she gets, Cathay business class or something like that, and wants to keep that award space might not be there at the time she goes to change it, and she's saying that AA is going to try to rebuild the whole thing. My guess, but I'm not that expert on awards with AA, but my guess is that maybe they wouldn't have to rebuild the whole thing if her award started, if her original award starts at the gateway city. So meaning like, let's say it's the flight is LAX to Hong Kong, just to throw something out. That's the flight that she wants to keep. Then if she starts the award in LAX, my guess is that AA might be able to, tack on a feeder leg when she changed the award instead of rebuilding the whole thing. But I don't know that for sure.
You guessed that because you're a Delta guy. I would be with Julian not guessing that. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right, but I don't know. And I could definitely see where it might be the case that agents would say, no, we got to start all over again. And now there's no availability because you already have the seats that were available. And if you cancel, you don't know if the seats will go back into award availability. So that's the big risk. If you book something and then you have to change it and you have to drop that itinerary, then there's no guarantee you're going to get those seats back. Sometimes they do come back into award inventory. One time in particular that I did this with Cathay Pacific, they did come back in inventory, but it was like a day or two later. And I say did this, it wasn't exactly the same situation as Julie, but essentially I had to cancel and rebook. And they did come back in inventory, but not right away. It was like not until after midnight or something, like the next day they came in. So,
right.
So I don't know.
But I still think there's a better chance. Okay. So let's say the two options are book from LA or book from, let's say, Chicago to LA to Hong Kong. If Chicago ends up being the wrong guess as the starting point, then I think there's less chance of being able to switch it to Wichita to LA to Hong Kong without rebooking the whole thing, then there's a chance of, if it was originally just booked LA to Hong Kong,
that maybe they could just
getting
tack
them
on
just add
yeah.
on that initial segment
So your
without.
advice is to book the gate from the
Well,
gateway.
because worst case, if there's no award availability anywhere, she separately books a leg using whatever mile she has or cash to get to LA. So I'd actually, say pick a departure gateway city that you think is highly likely to be cheap and easy to get to. And so LA tends to be one of the best for if you're going west. I'd say New York or DC area for if you're going east.
Okay, good advice. I'm with that. I can agree with him there. So that's that. That brings us to the next one. Strawberry lemonade. Yum. Asks us. Let's see. Do you know if the Ritz credit card is allowing travel credit to be used for dining again this year?
I'll let you take this one, Nick.
No, I don't know. As far as I know, no. To my knowledge, no. But actually, this question reminds me that yesterday I had it in mind to call again and see if I get one of these courtesy credits that Chase wants to give to everybody except for me, and ask one more time because my annual fee did post last month, and I realized, oh, I probably gotta get on the horse and call them up about that. So I intended to call them anyway, but the last time I called and I did ask about this in January at some point, and they told me, no, you can only use it on travel. So I don't know if anything has changed because last year they changed it mid-year and didn't tell anybody until like a month or two after they changed it. So maybe the same thing has happened this year, but I don't think so. To my knowledge, they haven't. And I don't know. I mean, I don't really feel like they have to yet. I always say this. I feel like the card is pretty generous. The travel card is pretty easy to use. I try not to complain too much because I really would prefer that Chase forget that the Ritz card is even there. Like, leave it alone. Like,
right.
let him go. Leave him alone. Don't bother him too much. Don't anger Chase and have him say, you know what, it's not worth it. We're going to convert everybody to a Sapphire Reserve. I'd like to keep the Ritz card. Leave it alone.
So, right. So towards that end, like I will mention that some people had success before we knew that it could be used. Travel credit last year could be used for all kinds of things. It's intended to be only for incidental airline fee credits, but people have reported success using it for all kinds of travel things like hotels. So don't know if that'll still work or if that was a temporary thing, but.
So again, leave Chase alone.
Right.
Try out, see what you can figure out what works and what doesn't work, and follow the data points that you see out there. And, Chase, leave the Ritz card alone. Okay. If you want to make it valid at restaurants, fine. But I'm certainly not going to knock down the door and complain and draw anybody's attention to it. Right. So next question comes from Greg. Not you, Greg, but the other Greg. Greg K. Greg says, do you think Simon Mall gift cards count toward the sign-up bonus with Brex? What do you think about that, Greg?
I'd be very surprised if the answer is no. I don't think they have their act together enough to disallow any particular purchases. That said, I still haven't gotten the 10K bonus from 3K spend, even though I did 3K spend early on. And all the spend was exactly the same.
But you got the other 100.
They counted 2K of my spend, so I got the 80K bonus and I got the 20K bonus for connecting PayPal up. But still missing 10. So it's not the end of the world, but it's just pointing out that if you don't get the bonus, it probably won't be because it's Simon Mall. It'll just be because there's weird stuff happening.
Right. So probably okay with that, as far as we know. I don't think we have any data points so far and anything in particular that's not working, or any data points that we do have are very similar to Greg's, in that it doesn't make enough sense to know that what the problem is, because like you said, he spent all 3K the same way basically. So why you get the bonus for 2K of it, not the other K? Who knows? So I think that it's just too early to know what's going on there. All right. So is it Harsh asks, what's the best Hyatts in Seattle and Portland? Greg, you been to Seattle or Portland? Stayed at a Hyatt? What are the best ones?
I've been to Seattle, but I haven't stayed at a Hyatt there. So I don't know. I mean, I've heard there's really good ones there. How about you?
Yep. Nope. I've never been to Portland, unfortunately, assuming we're talking about Portland, Oregon anyway. Been to Portland, Maine, but not Portland, Oregon. And I've been to Seattle a couple of times. Haven't stayed at a Hyatt there either. Everybody talks about the Hyatt at Elevate. I don't know if that's any good, but I know that a lot of people talk about it and that it used to be pretty well known for kind of gaming award availability and making it hard to use your points. So, but then I think they moved it up in category and now it's very easy to find award availability, I think, anyway, what I've gathered. But I know that was a desirable place anyway, the Hyatt at Elevate. So also, I think that might be an intriguing one because for brand explorer purposes, that's a plain Hyatt. Whereas, most Hyatts you see are a Hyatt Regency or a Hyatt House or a Hyatt Place, and this is one of those brands that you rarely ever see. I mean, I've only seen a couple of just flat Hyatts before. So that might be an attractive reason to consider the Hyatt at Elevate.
That's an interesting tip. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Well, look at it. You can always count on me. You can always count on me for the interesting tips. So I'm glad to provide some intrigue. There you go. Hyatt at Elevate is my suggestion, even though I don't know if it's any good. David, next up, says, how often should I be trying to get retention offers from Chase? Data points seem to be all over. People get them around the time of annual fee. Others seem to get them at other times. I mean, you got a bunch like middle of nowhere, right? Middle of the year, nowhere near your renewal times, didn't you?
Right. I don't make a habit of pestering Chase for retention offers. I have a bunch of their cards that I like to just keep. And most of them are fee-free, but the ones that aren't, like hotel cards where I'm getting more value out of the annual free night, for example, I just don't pester them usually. Now, last year, because we got reports of people getting $150 or $250 retention, well, they didn't even call it retention, but gift by calling and asking about either the Ritz card or the Sapphire Reserve. I had called and asked about both of those, and I got cash for both of them, as well as I went down the list of like all my cards with the guy and got cash for a bunch more. And I don't know, it had nothing to do, the timing had nothing at all to do with when annual fees had come in. Nothing at all.
Yeah. And then I called in and got nothing on any of my accounts. I tried a few times.
They were like, nah, the Freaker Miler team already used up all the credits.
Like, nah, yeah, right. We gave all the money to Greg. So there's nothing left for you. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Should have been quicker on the trigger on that one. So,
right. Yeah. That was the problem.
Little did I know. So yeah, but and in terms of retention offers in general, Citi is, historically quite good about giving retention offers more or less at any time, right? I mean, you never really know when you're going to get one from Citi. You can always back, right?
Citi has a sort of standard package of retention offers where it's like I think they follow a few different formats, but one is you get an extra 2x points for all spend with a cap of like 35K points, and then you sort of have to backtrack and say, okay, that means 17,000.5 K spend is the max for that retention offer. Another type, which I find very annoying, this type is where you have to spend a certain amount, like $100 or more. Sometimes it's quite a bit. Like I had one that was $4,000 a month for a certain number of months before you get your bonus, and you have to do it every single month. So that's really hard to keep track of and make sure you do. So those are annoying, but
agreed.
But they seem to have them like all the time. So just call once or twice a year and ask. And if you get a good agent, once you get the retention offer on one card, ask them to check your other cards because you've got them on the phone anyway. So
why waste another call? Let's not waste any minutes on the phone. So
right. All right. So
on through.
Yeah, I'm going to read the next question because this one's for you from Yifty. Yifty says, if I close a card to apply for venture card, does the closed account no longer viewed as revolving and I have a higher chance of being approved? I was denied because of too many revolving accounts.
Don't close something to try to get the venture card. Don't do it. Like whatever reason they gave you, I can't impress this upon people enough. Whatever reason they give you for declining you, the vast majority of the time is just a reason that a computer spit out to send to you. It's not really something that you should hold on to and consider to be significant. Now, I mean, there are some exceptions to that sometimes, of course, but a lot of those are very much it's not you, it's me, and really it's you. And, you don't really know what it means. And so I don't think that closing something is going to make you any more likely to get the venture card. You're just going to get a letter with a different reason on it. And so Capital One is notoriously difficult on approvals. If you didn't apply for Capital One early in the game, unfortunately for you, it's just not likely that you're going to get approved for a Capital One card. Probably you can take another swing at it in the future, but no, I don't really think that closing cards is. And then maybe I'm wrong. If Greg knows a data point that I don't, or Stephen or Carrie does out there, by all means, correct me. But I think you're just not likely to get approved.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the technical question of is it a revolving account? I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
But I agree with Nick. I don't think it would help. I periodically give Capital One a try when their sign up offers are better than usual, and every single time they reject me. And yeah, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? It would still report as a revolving account for 7 years, to my knowledge. So I don't think that.
And it depends whether it would report that way, although it does also report it as being closed. So that it depends how. If it was the real reason, it depends how they use that information.
Exactly. But I don't think either one of us has much faith in the fact that that's the real reason, or that changing that will do you any good, even if it is
more the latter. Yeah.
All right. So best of luck to you with something else. Find something other than the venture card. Give it up. So Jerry next says, I redeemed Hilton points for 5 nights at the Hilton Moorea in June. Want to add on Bora Bora, but there are no awards available. Would you pay $5,000 for 5 nights at the Conrad Bora Bora with breakfast and dinner included? And this is a perfect question for Greg because he is sitting on the beach at the Conrad Bora Bora
literally sitting there right now. So while it seems like it'd be ideal for me, I haven't really been there in IRL, in real life.
Look at you. Look at you. Modern,
unlike
the elderly guy.
Unlike Nick, who appears to be flying there right now.
Right.
So if you couldn't find award availability, would you pay $5,000 for 5 nights?
No. I mean, it's nice, but I wouldn't. It's funny because I saw you must have posted this question in Frequent Miler Insiders yesterday because I took a screenshot of it and I sent it to my wife and I said, my goodness, let's be thankful for the games we play, because I thought to myself, I just wouldn't do that. And that's not, I mean, I know people do. I knew that most of the people around me paid more than that when I was there. The standard room rates were pretty high. And I met people at the St. Regis Bora Bora paying the full cash rate there and at the Four Seasons. And I figured they must have spent 15 grand at least on their trip. And we spent a pile of points. So, I know people do it, but no, there are few places in the world I would spend that much on. And the Conrad Bora Bora is beautiful, but if I were going to spend that kind of money, I wouldn't stay at the Conrad Bora Bora. And the reason is you don't have the traditional Bora Bora view. It's beautiful, but it's beautiful overwater bungalows that you can probably also get in the Maldives or also get in some other places that are really pretty. And it views just the open ocean. If you want that traditional Bora Bora view where you're like looking at that island in the middle, you got to stay at a place like the St. Regis or one of the places on the interior of the ring. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look at a map of Bora Bora and where the Conrad is. The Conrad is facing the open ocean. Everything else, all of the other hotels are on like the inside of this coral reef facing the island in the middle. I would not spend $5,000 to not have that view. So I would definitely not do it there. It's probably a good deal with dinner included, probably a decent deal with dinner included, but I still wouldn't do it.
Just think if Jerry were to use his Hilton Aspire card, what does that get? 12 or 14? I think 14, right? Points per dollar at Hilton properties. Plus you get the normal
10x,
10x, and then there's usually a promo going on. He'd probably end up with like 8 bajillion Hilton points at the end of his stay.
He might. Well, in fairness, you're also asking someone who has never spent anything near that on a hotel night. So take my opinion with a grain of salt, because if that's your jam, if that's what you normally spend on a hotel, then who am I to tell you you're wrong? I mean, this game is played by all sorts of different people in different ways. So if you're taking a dream trip to Bora Bora, and that's the way that you're going to be able to stay in Bora Bora, I mean, hey, who am I to judge? It's just not what I would do if you're asking.
Are there any tricks that you know of to get award availability with Hilton that might not be obvious?
No, I just kept searching and I found it. So no, not off the top of my head, apart from looking at different lengths of stay, looking at individual nights. So if you've just been looking at a 5-night stay and not finding any availability, split it up and try each night separately and check that.
Unless they have like a 3-night minimum or something, then.
They didn't when I was there, and when
Okay.
I was there was pre-pandemic. So I booked my nights individually, 3 nights as separate 1-night reservations, and that was pre-pandemic. So I would think that they probably don't have a more difficult policy now than they did before. So probably you can still find them, but I don't know for your specific dates. I would keep searching and searching and searching if I were you, and I wouldn't book anything that's non-refundable, because you may well find award availability at some point.
Yeah. Also, in the post, the tools we use, there's a website listed that can help you set an alert to find standard room availability, because like that's what needs to be there for you to get the normal price awards with Hilton or most hotel chains, and that availability can come and go. So you can just set up an alert for the dates you need and get alerted when there's a room available, then do an award search there, and hopefully it'll come up. And if not, you might even be able to talk to the hotel to see if they can release it, because they should in that circumstance if a standard room is available for sale.
And they do have excellent customer service, so it's worth sending a message. I mean, what harm is that going to do, especially at a time when, like I said, probably they're seeing many fewer travelers than they used to, at least. So I would think that they may be more amenable to doing that kind of thing if you ask. If you don't ask, they definitely won't. If you do, the worst they're going to tell you is no. So it might be worth reaching out, sending a message. Also, if you're going to visit multiple islands in French Polynesia, take a look at Air Tahiti's website, because you're going to need to take a domestic flight. And that domestic flight, when I went, was something like $450 round trip from Papeete to Bora Bora. But for like a little bit more, for like $5 or $550 or something, I could have booked an island hopper with stops on like 5 different islands. So I would take a look at their island hopper packages if you have enough time to visit more than one island, and you may find another island that's even more interesting to you. So take a look at that too. Best of luck. So let's see. Next up, is it Coastal, sort of, I think, if I'm reading that right. It says, on your website, I love the pictures you guys put on there. Would you mind adding a caption that tells us where that pic came from?
Yeah, thank you. No, we don't mind doing that, and I think we sometimes or often do within the body of posts, but the way the blogging software WordPress works is you could set a featured image, and that's what shows up. Like if you go to our homepage and you see a whole bunch of posts and you see a picture next to each post, there's no way that I'm aware of to set a caption for a featured image. So unless we actually change the image itself to have the words where it is embedded in it, I'm just not sure technically how to make that happen.
It's a great question for the creative director.
Right.
But no, I don't know. And I usually try to have, not always, but that featured image is very often within the post. And then within the post, I do, like Greg said, usually try to put the information about it. If you're ever curious about a picture though on something and you wonder where it came from, leave a comment, and we'll answer the comment and tell you where it is if we haven't labeled something. So don't be afraid to ask.
But that's a great question, because it's certainly something that it's come up before, and sort of haven't thought about doing anything about it.
Right. So thank you for asking it.
So Stephen does chirped in here with a tip, which is that many of the photos actually have the name of the property in the file name, and you could actually right click on the picture and how do you
Click save.
and click save image or something like that, and you might then see the file name of the picture and be able to tell where it's from. So sort of a geeky way of figuring it out if you need to.
Right. And hopefully we've labeled our stuff well then.
Right.
and not like accidentally saved it as stupid picture 15634.
Right.
But yes, hopefully. All right. So Gifty asks another question, says, if you book a hotel with the venture card and erase it with miles, what would happen if you cancel the booking and receive a refund? Do you get to keep the refund and basically cash out venture miles at 1 cent each? Yep.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah. Just let me say same answer with like the Arrival Plus and number of other
transferable currency, or I mean not transferable.
Another points where you can sort of erase
purchases.
Charges. You generally can do that, and you keep the rebate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. So then there we go. Oh, Yifty asked another one. Can you do the same with Bank of America Premium Rewards card as well? Yeah, basically any card that happens with. Yes. So
I mean, premium rewards, first of all, there's no reason to trick it, because premium rewards you can cash out for a penny each. Travel rewards, the Bank of America travel rewards card is supposed to be, or at least used to be, just for travel, but I think they expanded it recently to dining and some stuff. But you can certainly do that to cash out travel rewards.
In general, yep. All right, Peter asks us, what would you say is the most underrated travel hack out there, i.e. something not spoken much about by the travel blogs because it doesn't pay them?
Wow.
So what would you say, Greg? What's the best thing that nobody's writing about because there's no money in it?
I would tell you if you gave me a lot of money, but
I guess I'm going to have to take Greg on a trip and let him charge everything to my room so we can find out.
There you go. Steven says, stowing away in a suitcase like Carrie did.
I haven't heard anybody else talk about that since. So if you missed that video, then that's definitely a travel hack that you missed out on. You could have saved 50% on airfare.
That's right.
So if you had no idea what we're talking about, you missed it.
Do you have I mean, it's obviously it's not that we really don't want to say it. It's just hard to think of what that would be off the top of my head. Do you have anything that comes to mind?
I don't think so. I mean, there's, I think best rate guarantees don't get talked about very often, and they can be really valuable. There's been somebody in Frequent Miler Insiders reporting lots of success with best rate guarantees lately, and I think that's something that a lot of people ignore or forget about when you're playing this game that could save you a bunch of money if you're paying for stays. I saw something yesterday. Somebody asked about using a VPN to book flights, like looking like you're in another country. And I've seen times when having an IP address in a different country have reduced the price of flights, but it's not something that I consistently see enough that I bother doing it anymore anyway. So I don't know as though there's one of those things that is a hot hack that I can think of.
Yeah.
I mean, we write about a lot of stuff. So I feel like I could sit here and talk about Turkish miles and smiles to book United, and talking about, the ANA around the world chart that Greg wrote about this week. I mean, there's a lot of hacks out there that I think are amazing that we don't actually see all that often discussed on other blogs, but I don't necessarily think that one of those is the thing that Peter's looking for.
Right. I also, I think there are a lot of probably hacks that aren't talked much about for various reasons. I don't think that there's too many blogs that wouldn't write about them because they don't get paid for them.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Even the most, how do I say this diplomatically? The blogs that are most financially, incentivized financially for, with regards to what they post, still post things that don't benefit them outside of getting more clicks to their website, because people are interested. And so it's more, I think it has more to do with how interesting is this hack to the authors who think the readers will be interested too. So there's probably things that are, I'm sure there are things where we don't realize that a lot of people would be interested, and because we're not.
Right.
Yeah. And then there's also the ones that are like, we don't want to write about them because it could kill the deal, and they're kind of secret, or could hurt a company that is providing something that would really cost them a lot if it was publicized.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's also a good point there. So Sorry to disappoint without, with the super secret hack that you were hoping to hear today, but that's, I think, as much as I've got on that. So Marilyn says, I was shut down by Chase about 18 months ago with 4 credit cards. Has enough time passed, and can I reapply for at least a couple? So completely shut down 18 months ago. Can Marilyn apply again?
I have no idea. I don't have any idea what Chase's rules are about if or when you can come
I
back
think
into
it probably depends very much on what the details of the shutdown entailed, because I've heard of people being locked out of Chase for a really long time, but I also have heard of people getting back in with Chase eventually. So my gut instinct would be 18 months is probably too fast, but at the same time, what are you risking? A denial? I mean, one denial isn't going to probably ruin your world. So, as long as that's the case, that one denial isn't going to, make you cry yourself to sleep, then give it a shot if you want. You're not going to do that much harm by getting a denial. So I don't think there's much harm in trying, but I also don't necessarily think I'd bet on success.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. There's a chance if you try it and they're not going to let you in, there's a chance that they won't even run a hard inquiry because they'll catch it up front. So in that case, there'd really be no harm.
Give it a shot. Yep. All right. Then let's see. Just Mirror says, any tips on getting airline benefits like free luggage, etc., lounge access for kids under 18? Any tips on getting those things? So maybe if you have an unaccompanied minor traveling, not with you, or maybe you're traveling with a family and you're looking to get free luggage for them. What are the tips for that, Greg?
So I think that sort of the underlying point here, if we're reading it right, is that since they're under 18, they can't get their own credit cards that have those perks built in.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the best options is to add them as an authorized user to one of your cards. And so, like we've talked before about the Ritz card, you could get the Ritz card even if you don't have it. You could get it by starting with a Chase Marriott card, consumer Marriott card, and upgrade it to the Ritz. And that one has the priority pass benefit. And you can add free authorized users, and each of them gets a free priority pass card as well. So that's one example.
Why don't my sons have their own priority pass cards yet?
That's actually a good question. I don't think Chase has an age limit on authorized users.
No,
right?
I mean, both of my sons are on Chase cards already.
You should do that before they change that rule. They start looking at the Ritz card and say, that's too generous. You got to get in under
their own priority pass. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of silly though in my case, because the priority pass that comes with the Ritz card has unlimited guests, and they're not going to be traveling without me. So,
well, you don't know when your older son, maybe by the time he's 4, he's going to be hitting the road himself.
You never know. So, and then at least he can get good lounge access when he does it. So,
right. The other one that I can think of that would make sense is if your home airport is has an American Airlines club in it, then you would consider getting the AA executive card, and that has is it free or cheap? I can't remember if the authorized user cards are. I think they're free, right?
You get 10 free.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And each of those gets lounge access. So those are a couple like pop in mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are the things that would pop into my mind too. I don't, in terms of getting them free bags, unless you're traveling with them and you have the airline credit card. And in many cases, if you have the airline credit card, then you get a free check bag for you and a couple of companions, depending on which card it is and which airline. And then it also varies a little bit. Like United, I think you have to have paid for the flight with the United card in order to get the free bags. But with Delta or American, if you just have the card, you get the free bags. So there's some variance there, but having the airline credit card might help if you're traveling with that person who's under 18.
Right.
And also, of course, they can sign up for their own loyalty account and they can have elite status if they fly often enough for it. So that's, I guess, another option. I thought there was something else I was going to say when you were talking about that. Now I think I lost it. So there it goes. And back to the Chase shutdown, by the way, a little interjection from the peanut gallery here was that the Chase shutdown is permanent. And I think that comes from a place of experience. So, and I've heard that before, that Chase shutdowns can be permanent.
I don't think anybody has lived long enough to know that for sure, though.
But well, right. There's always an exception to every rule, right? So yeah, but I have heard people that have said that they've never been able to get one again, or I've even heard of people not getting one because their significant other, their spouse, got shut down by Chase, and so there's definitely some risk there, and that's probably why
Yeah,
Greg doesn't call Chase to pester them for retention offers very often, because he figures there's no need to poke that bear.
exactly. Exactly.
So, all right. So then back to the questions here. Let's see. Can you see the next one? Because I can't see the next one yet. Where is it? Let me back up. Last question.
Is it from Yifty?
Yes. Okay. There we go. I see it now. Can you product change the double cash to the rewards plus in the first year, trying to apply for the double cash first and get Premier in a couple of months, then upgrade the double cash to the rewards plus on the same day to reset the clock?
First of all, I don't know, but second, I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. So that I would want to have both. I would want to have all three of those cards. If you're interested in the Premier, then in my mind, you ought to also have the double cash and the rewards plus card. And because that is a great, combination of cards, because the double cash, you're getting 2x everywhere, no annual fee. Rewards plus, you're getting a 10% rebate on all your award booking or all your points redemptions, up to 10,000 points rebated a year. And the Premier, of course, has a number of attractive 3x categories and allows you to transfer points to partners. So that's a great combo. So I just wouldn't do that. I would look for another way to get the rewards plus, either by, just sign up new for it after getting the
Premier.
the Premier. Yeah.
You wouldn't be eligible for a welcome bonus then, I think, but you could still potentially get it. Or I don't know, what I would do is just sign up for an American Airlines card and product change it a year from now, and get yourself the American Airlines welcome bonus now. And worst case scenario here, you're giving up the 10,000 point rebate the first year. I mean, big whoop, you're going to have this long term, and you want that double cash, and ideally you want the double cash to have a pretty healthy limit on it. So if that's the first one you're applying for, chances are you'll get a better limit probably on that card than you're going to get on the subsequent applications anyway. So I'd start out with a double cash, because that's where you want to have the high limit, and Citi doesn't make it as easy as everybody else to move your limits around. So start with that double cash.
Good point.
Have that, hold it, keep it, get your Premier, and then get an American Airlines card, and eventually change it to a rewards plus down the road. You don't need the rewards plus right away. That's less pressing, in my opinion, unless you're just spending very little money. But I would assume that if you're going to go Premier double cash, you're going to make the double cash kind of a daily driver there, and earn a bunch of points. So
yep, good answer. Okay. All right.
I think was there?
I think there's one more question. I'll read this one from Yifty again. Mm-hmm. How do you buy Southwest tickets with part travel funds plus rest of the fare with credit card? And what would happen if you cancel it? Does the refunded travel funds expiration date change?
All right. So how do you do it? Just during the checkout process, you go to apply travel funds. And if it doesn't cover the whole cost, then you have to enter a credit card number to pay the rest. I mean, that's basically what you would expect with a gift card plus credit card situation. So I don't think that part is necessarily particularly difficult to do on your own. And then in terms of what happens if you cancel it, my recollection, and I'd have to Google this because I don't remember for sure. My recollection is I believe that when you cancel it, the travel funds take over the most restrictive terms of the funds used to book the ticket. So I believe that you would be subject to the original expiration date for the new ticket. So if you were using travel funds that expire next week plus a credit card, when you cancel that, I believe the new funds will all expire next week. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works with Southwest. So I would Google it to double check my answer there.
Why can't Southwest just make it permanent that you're allowed to exchange your travel funds for miles at a good rate? That was awesome.
Yeah, that would be a great feature for them to continue to have. I agree. Southwest, if you're listening, bring it back, because that was really nice. And if I'm wrong about what I just said there, then your best case scenario is they're going to split it and give you two different credits, and one is still going to expire. You're not going to extend the credit that was scheduled to expire. Like, that's not a trick that's going to work. So
bummer.
hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
All right,
All
guys.
right. That's the end of our show. So
It is.
it's been great seeing everybody again. And I don't know if you want to do the usual goodbye song, Nick.
Sure. If you guys enjoyed what you're listening to, you want to get on our email list, get our posts in your inbox, join our Frequent Miler Insiders Facebook group. All you got to do is go to frequentmiler.com/subscribe, frequentmiler.com/subscribe to get on all of our various lists. Make sure that you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us a review or a comment or whatever else. Thank you guys for being here. We'll be back with this in 2 weeks, but check out our podcast, Frequent Miler on the Air. It's out there on all the podcast platforms and it's here on YouTube too. So don't forget to check that out too.
Thanks, everybody.